And we're live.
Oh my god, we're live. I'm scared. What's going on, everybody?
Hello.
It's your boy Shanghai 20, and that is Bolo Strikes Back.
Hello, Abbott. Hello.
How are you doing?
We're doing fine.
Oh my god. Okay, guys. I want to do this on a different level. Last time we did this, we did one for the
Birds of Prey.
Okay, I was about to say, could you do it all? Can you say it all?
Oh, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Holy shit, he did it. He's way better at that stuff than I am, man. I just called them Birds of Prey, but we did a preview. Well, we did a review video of that after we got out of the movie theater. We went and talked about it for a little bit.
Yes, we did.
And honestly, to tell you guys out there the truth, I was actually gonna do a huge one with Bolo about the Snyder Cut.
Actually, we haven't done it about
No, we haven't, because it was so good. I stood up. I went to his house in Jersey. After the movie, I stood up in his living room, clapped, ran around in a circle, and didn't have anything to say. I said I couldn't talk.
Well, plus it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was late as fuck.
It's true, but I could talk forever about something. But I couldn't. There was no words to say how dope I felt that movie was.
Well, I mean, I personally felt that I was hurt after it because, you know, that movie should have happened in 2017. Like the Justice League movie that came out during 2017 never should have happened. And like the fact that was a movie we got, and the fact that was a movie that almost essentially killed the whole DCU, movies. Like, and like the fact that they made the decision not to put the movie out, and then they did everything they could just not to put the movie out, and it's just like, okay, so you just made the worst decision that you could have made, and then like all of the repercussions of your dumbass decision, and now like you you like the movie's out there for people to see. Like, oh, you guys fucking suck at your job. Like that's really what it was. Is just like, okay, so you hire this crazy ass director. That's what Zack Snyder is. If you're gonna hire him, you're gonna get a Zack Snyder movie, which is a Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it is.
He had to put me kind of onto more of the path because I know Zack Snyder as a director, but I didn't quite understand it on that level until like you can print out or like go look at his IMDb, guys, and kind of the kind of movies he likes to do. And he's right. He's right on that level.
I mean, they're highly stylized.
They're highly stylized,
but like
movies.
they're stylized to such a point that like his style does, you know, overtake everything else. But it's so good that you're like, who gives a shit? It's like, you know, they're beautiful pieces of like, you know, film that you're watching where just like, I mean. And it's not even one of his more popular movies, but the Owls of Gaul. We watched that shit together.
Oh wow!
And like the scenes where the owls are flying through the rainstorm are just like,
or even when they get hypnotized by the freaking rain.
Yeah, it's just like
whoa,
just like
shit.
What you're watching, like the things he can paint with celluloid. It's just like, yo, like because that was a movie. Because like, you know, like the first movie I ever saw of his was Dawn of the Dead, the remake of Dawn of the Dead. And I'm like, okay, I like that movie because you know it's just a fun movie.
Wait, Dawn of the Dead was Snyder.
It's Zack Snyder. Yeah, that was like his first big break, right?
Wow.
And then he followed that up with 300, and then like ever since then I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch anything this guy puts out.
Like Guy Ritchie. I watched.
Exactly.
I watched like Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm watching Guy Ritchie movies. I love Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
And then I found out he was like fucking Madonna and all this shit. But guys. Whoa!
Suicide Squad.
But by the way, I just bought this movie, Batman Soul of the Dragon. We just finished watching this before we go watch fucking Suicide Squad. This is good! Guys in chat, go do yourself a favor. If this comes out somewhere, if it's free somewhere, go watch it. It's really good.
You don't have to be whores about it. But it's a good movie. Like if you,
I like to tell people about good stuff.
Well,
guys.
it's good stuff in terms of like you know, this is essentially Batman and Enter the Dragon smashed into a single movie.
Yeah,
you know, and it's Batman hanging out with Bruce Lee and
you know,
if that
Jim Brown
like,
and or fucking
no, it's Jim Kelly.
So
like if you're interested in a movie if that sounds like an interesting movie to you, go see it. It's great.
Absolutely.
You know, like apparently WB doesn't know how to market their own movies.
No.
Again.
I am not a shill for WB. No one pays me.
But,
the Shanghai Showdown has never been sponsored by any thing, but I like to tell you guys out there, particularly the people that watch me, the good advice, baby. I got that nudge, that wink, wink. Hey, go watch.
But
Dragon.
again, let's stay on track. The whole
Suicide
purpose,
Squad.
The whole purpose of this video is Suicide Squad. So we haven't seen it yet.
No.
We're going to see it. We just want to give our thoughts before we see it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would start off to say I am actually kind of nervous because.
How so?
I mean, like I was saying before. You know, the villain in this, or the perceived villain that they're advertising is Starro, right? And if you're gonna have Starro before you do a Justice League movie, you know, especially this is a James Gunn movie where there's gonna be a lot of comedy in it, and you know, very much almost a satire of the genre, because that's kind of what he does.
Well, I'll put it this way: in terms of people who don't really know, Starro is like a giant sentient starfish that shoots out little starfish that can control people.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And like, it controls people's mind, and it's almost like, you know, an alien. It's
an alien with psychic abilities.
It's almost like, well, because you could play it almost like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where you know, if you get infected by Starro, you have no more control of your body, and you're literally just a slave.
And the most scary part is that literally the starfish takes over the center of your face, and it has an eyeball in the middle of the starfish. Yeah, so when it latches onto you, it just it's just like. You're an eye, like it's a puppet for this little starfish.
And like in Starro itself is literally it's, you know, it's so big that it just comes from space. So
it's a huge sentient starfish, like
space starfish.
So that when he talks about how it's not before in a Justice League, he's talking about just the gravity of the villain.
Exactly,
is what it shouldn't be. But personally, for me, and I've read a bunch of Suicide comics. Suicide Squad does this because they're not important. People
Well,
throw them
right,
in as
right.
fodder, and they come out
No,
despite
you're,
of that.
no, you're absolutely right.
So
but
I would absolutely go there. They'd send him into a god to like get roasted.
No, I agree. Like this is a perfect venue for Suicide Squad to be in. But the fact that we don't have that Justice League movie fighting Starro, you're not really setting up Starro as the actual villain.
Impact of
the
Starro.
impact of actually Starro.
And honestly,
coming.
guys, that's one thing I'm gonna be really interested to see how they show the importance or the danger level of something like Starro. Because in the DC universe, like Thanos, everyone thinks Thanos is a huge baddie in the Marvel universe. Thanos is only like that because of the glove, the Infinity Stones. Him himself is not as powerful as anybody else. Like, he is strong, he's durable, he's a great fighter, he's almost indestructible.
I mean, but within Marvel, that's just everybody.
That's everyone. He's default.
Yeah.
But the Infinity Gauntlet is what brought Thanos to more prominence, particularly around that whole Infinity War, the Infinity Gauntlets, the Infinity Stones, and how Marvel kind of built up to Thanos. Thanos isn't like that guy. He's not Darkseid. He's not the equivalent of Darkseid in the DC universe.
Yeah, I mean, well, in terms of like what they're... Like the role they played and the position they're in is similar but very different.
Very different.
I mean, and plus like the lore behind it, because like what makes Darkseid great is also his lore. Whereas it's like, you know, him and all of the new gods, you know, the title is self-explanatory. They're literally new gods, and he's like he's literally the god of like, you know, slavery and quote unquote anti-life. Like he's all about like, no, I'm like, you don't deserve to have a choice in your own life. You should surrender everything that you are to me because I like Darkseid is. Yeah. You know, and that's what he's a god. It's
almost like a whole mental oppression thing with that. Correct. So like it's definitely a different level. So when he talks about Starro being a bigger threat and it should have a little more gravitas. I completely understand. I mean, because
like in reality, like, you know, if you go back to the history of the comics, like Starro is actually the first Justice League villain. Like, you know,
I do remember that comic.
The cover of the comic is it's a big ass starfish, and it's all the Justice League members being, you know, wrapped around him. So it's like, you know, it's something that if WB or, you know, just whoever was really understood like the history of the comics and like what it really meant for Starro to, you know, the first live action version of Starro, and you're gonna put him in a movie like Suicide Squad. Again, I think it's a great idea on paper, and like, yes, you put Suicide Squad in something like against Starro, because half of these motherfuckers shouldn't be making it. That if you're gonna make a Suicide Squad movie, those are the rules you have to play by. But you know, they're not really building out the universe. And like I wouldn't even say they failed to build out the universe, but it's kind of like it feels like they didn't necessarily believe the universe that they had. And like the universe didn't make as much money or wasn't as successful. And in reality, it just seems to be culturally, it didn't hit the zeitgeist the way they wanted it to. So, you know, they spent, you know, pretty much half the decade trying to undo what they did, but you know, with the release of the Snyder Cut,
Aquaman. I think Aquaman, Snyder Cut. I mean, I think that the Wonder Woman 2 did a disservice.
Because like what happened is that, like, you know, because the Aquaman was made in a sort of space where it was like, fuck it, we're probably not getting another chance to make any of these movies, so let's just throw everything in there. Yeah. Right.
Wait, with Aquaman?
With Aquaman.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, they went full retard on Aquaman, and I commend the people who made Aquaman. Yeah, it was a great movie.
Yeah, and it was James Wan, and they're just like, fuck it, there's nothing, we have nothing to lose here, because you know, remember Aquaman is post Justice League. So that means at that point, you don't know if you have Henry Cavill's out. Yeah. Like, you know, Ben Affleck was all like, oh, is he still going to be Batman? Yeah. And like those are the two dudes.
Those are the main dudes.
The only one that sort of hit with the zeitgeist and was popular was Wonder Woman. Yeah. You know, so like, you know, Aquaman was just like, okay, fine, fuck it, let's just, you know, screw it. So, you know, it's heartbreaking, because it's like, you know, they really didn't set up their universe, and like in the universe they set up, you know, the way Zack Snyder was telling his story, is very unusual in terms of movies. None of them were actually self-contained movies. Like one led right into the other.
Yeah,
Man of Steel ended. Batman v Superman picked up 5 minutes before the ending of Man of Steel.
Yeah, I mean, even shows the car scene through it where Batman was going through the first part of the end of Man of Steel.
And the Justice League did the exact same thing with Batman v Superman. Justice League starts.
I guess you're right.
And as
Superman's dead.
As Superman,
the death cry
as he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
So like.
That was amazing. And that was amazing how they set that up in the Snyder Cut.
No, it was crazy. And like it's one big story, and like from at least the reports that you read that you have like a 5 hour.
Even Suicide Squad was part of that because they said what happened. What is Superman?
They're still trying to sort of loosely tie those things together, and I think
this one is going to do a lot more to tie those into those.
Well,
maybe not completely, but they're going to mention that.
I don't think so because I think what's one. The Snyder Cut is officially not the canon version of the Justice League. The original theatrical version of Justice League is the quote unquote canon of that movie.
I mean, it doesn't change much.
It does change a shitload. It does. Because there was like if Themyscira, Martian Manhunter, if Themyscira didn't fucking drop a goddamn temple into a goddamn
but that intentionally that didn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things.
I mean,
but I'm talking about grand scheme.
Ultimately
the same things happened. They did it differently.
But the plot points didn't change, but the characterizations of the characters are completely different.
If they plan on going forward with that
exactly,
instead of those, that's a problem.
It's a huge problem because now you have a Batman that kind of doesn't make sense. His motivations in that movie and his character change don't make sense. All right, you have a Cyborg that you didn't develop.
I love Cyborg in that movie. In both movies, I thought he stand out the highest.
Well, I mean, to me, Cyborg is the biggest difference because in the original one, he's just there. There's nothing to remember him by. There's nothing to forget him by either. It was just like, okay, great, Cyborg. But in the other one, there are scenes that you remember. Like when he first gets his power, and you see the cut scenes with the woman, and she's fucking broke.
And he's changing,
and he's literally just like. And you're just like, oh,
they did a really good job with that.
They show you what his power is.
Because me and you both know what he's capable of. But to explain that, to show that to people in a visual way, they did a really good job.
Exactly. And that's to me, that's what these movies should be about.
All right, wait.
Again.
Suicide Squad!
So, Suicide Squad. So,
second question. Who is Bloodsport? I don't know who Bloodsport is.
Well,
but we'll do it right now. We'll look it up. I need to know.
I remember I did look it up, and he's like another fucking Deadshot, but just lower.
Who is Bloodsport?
Lower in the totem pole.
Who is Bloodsport?
Totem pole.
Here is information from History versus Hollywood.
Why don't you just type it?
I don't type anything!
Frank W. Dukes.
Wow.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, goddammit. My man, Jean-Claude.
Yeah, the wonders of technology.
Yeah, see, it's not good when all the pictures I see of him is of Idris Elba.
No,
wow.
So wait,
that's the original one. Bloodsport is an alias used by several fictional supervillains appearing in DC, American Comics DC.
He's a Superman
All versions
villain.
exist in DC's
main shared universe, known as DC Universe.
Created and written by John Burns. Appears Superman Volume 2. Wow.
That's very funny. So what?
1987.
So what is his particular power?
Let's see. There's multiple people who played him. Robert Du Bois, Alex Trent, and Bloodsport 3. Abilities. Robert Du Bois has has no superhuman power. He has proven to be a formidable hand-to-hand combat who needed dual due to his exo-physical fearless. He possesses a device that enabled him to teleport? High-tech weaponry?
Yeah.
Okay. Incredibly strong, significantly more durable than average humans.
So he's Deadshot, essentially.
He's like Deadshot, but not as good.
Yeah.
And
fair enough.
Yeah. And for me, honestly, I thought there was a big... And in this, they have Bronze Tiger in it. Bronze Tiger should have been in this movie because, the last couple of things, particularly media-wise, TV-wise, movie-wise, Bronze Tiger has been in both, Justice League, the last
the Green Arrow.
The Green Arrow, and then he was in the fucking cartoon movie of the Suicide Squad.
He was.
He was like one of the last people to die. That one.
Did he die now?
Oh yeah. He ate some. He got hit. He shot in the chest, and like bled out on the floor.
Wait, this is the one that's.
Oh no! You know what? They switched. Somebody else took his spot. I think. No.
Wait, is this the Hell to Pay one?
Yeah, Hell to Pay. I think he dies in Hell to Pay.
Maybe.
I gotta.
But anyways, Suicide Squad. So
this is just the video before we watch it, guys. So this is all speculation to what we think of. That's why the subtitle is Nightmares, Fears, Dreams, and Hopes.
So I guess the
let's do that. Let's go. What is your first nightmare? Let's go bad.
So I guess my first nightmare is that it's 100% James Gunn movie, which is a good thing.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, but like Guardians of the Galaxy is still a reasonably entertaining movie, and James Gunn did fucking Shaun of the Dead and a lot of fun movies, Baby Driver, just movies that are fun, right?
Yeah.
So, in one sense, that's a good thing and that's a bad thing, because that means there's going to be an undercurrent of undercutting things like a Starro, but that could also work. So. I mean, my fears and nightmares, dreams, and hopes are all the same thing. It's
fucking what's called jibs him like a million times. Super jibs him.
So it could very much be a good movie and a disappointing movie at the same time.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm watching fucking Reverse Flash be shot repeatedly in the chest and then shot point blank in the head by fucking Deadshot.
Well, let's focus. So, what are your hopes and dreams?
Well, I'm going with my nightmare. My nightmare is that it's gonna.
Well, you have to do everything.
Well, you want me? Oh my god, all of it? Okay. So, first, my nightmare. My nightmare is that it's going to be more along the same lines of a very generic-y, try to hit the beats that all these other ones, like a Deadpool. Like but Deadpool 2 wasn't very good.
Well, it was carbon copy of the first one.
But it also was very cheesy in a certain way. We're like, oh, we already know we got this.
Well, but it had Zazie Beetz in it.
Whatever. The only part about that movie that was great because the real Juggernaut was in it.
And Shatterstar.
No, the real Juggernaut was
in it. But Shatterstar dies really quick.
I don't give a fuck about Shatterstar. All I cared about is seeing the Juggernaut say, hey, I'm going to shove you up that guy's ass. That's what I wanted to see. And Juggernaut ripped fucking Deadpool in half. That's what I want to see. I grew up to see that in my goddamn life. Juggernaut is my favorite character in the Marvel Universe. He's unstoppable. He's the fucking Juggernaut. But my fear is that it's going to digress and not have any kind of lore or actual DC characters that they're going to use the very obscure characters like a Polka Dot Man and stuff like that. But I want you to use them in the right way. Because DC has so many characters that aren't these traditional either bad guys or good guys.
Well, it's
that's the dichotomy of the Suicide Squad.
Well, I would say it's actually almost the opposite. Is that DC's history has been around for so long that they have characters that were created in the 50s and 60s that where things didn't matter. The philosophy was we're making stories for children that's going to age out. So who really gives a shit about anything? And what made it really magical is that creators that these things turn into history would bring these old characters back
and make them
and
more significant,
and just reinvent them, or even just make fun of them for their silliness and this is ridiculous, but it's still going to exist within the context of this universe. And it created this sort of legacy of okay, this is bigger than even the characters that you're reading about, and that there's relationships that are longer than just what we have. It's not just one day. Because at a point, the difference between Marvel and DC was that Marvel is always the constant now, where the only real thing that's consistent is that Captain America was in World War II. Everything else is sort of resets every 20 years. So, Tony Stark or whatever tragedy that happened to these characters was just 20 years ago. Oh, there's a
it's fresh.
Exactly, and that's what happens. Where DC,
that man's been living with that pain for a while.
well, like
He's unhappy, folks.
What's sort of interesting is that like within DC, how they kind of molded and manipulated their history, pre the crises, was that you had the Justice Society, which was the World War II heroes, right, and they existed, and then after that things sort of quiet down, and then they took Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman from those old comics and said, okay, they're always going to be sort of eternally young. But then they created all of the new characters, the spin-off, like Barry Allen Flash, which is different from the Jay Garrick Flash.
Yeah.
They updated it.
Shit, they even made Jay Garrick Flash like a different universe as Flash, just to kind of fix that up.
Exactly. So
and I thought that, I think that's fine, because that introduces like Speed Force stuff. And
right, and
like that.
and that's what I mean, where like they try and not, and like there's always this sort of push and pull between, almost like the philosophy of it, of, keeping the old and trying to, also refresh it to try and bring in new readers.
And that's what I'm saying about the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad has this roster of these characters, these retread characters from like the 60s, 50s sometimes.
Well, yeah, you just bring people back.
And it's like, and honestly, that's what I think it started, honestly, in the fucking Lego movie. When Joker like brought out the list. He's like, yeah, we have Mothman, Crazy Crow, the Seven-Armed Man.
Well,
he's like, and
no, it's the 10-eyed
man. The 10-eyed man. He's like, you think I'm joking? Google it.
Yeah.
That's what he said in the freaking movie, and I think that's what started that.
Well, I don't think it started.
That kind of fascination with it.
It was the first time you'd see it in something that wasn't like a hardcore DC sort of thing.
Yeah, hardcore DC thing, and it brought to attention that, and honestly, that's what I give Teen Titans Go a little bit for. They do bring in that kind of lore like that.
Yeah,
they have brought them 10-eyed man or something that you wouldn't really. The average casual fan wouldn't know anything about it.
It's for its sort of cheesiness and sort of play to a younger audience. They get and they understand like DC.
I think they're more willing to get the characters now than before. But that's my nightmare. My nightmare is that they're not going to get that. They're not going to care enough to do that. My dream is that they actually let Starro be like big. He kills off like 3 or 4 characters. He might even kill off Idris Elba.
But the question is so how is Starro actually going to do it? Like, you actually want to see the mind control? I want
to see a giant starfish and then shooting out starfish, and I want the Suicide Squad to have to like fight through a town of people possessed by Starros, and literally no one giving a fuck about these people. Literally, it's going to be like a blood fest. They're like, what do we can't do nothing about this.
Not just that, we don't care.
We don't care. There's a giant fucking starfish behind us.
We're the bad guys, remember?
So fuck that. That's a giant starfish. It just latched onto this motherfucker's face. He's meat now. Yeah. Fuck that. Yeah. And it's going to be like, that's what I want to see. I want to see that pure joy and carnage of like, no, fuck this. We're in a bad situation. Yeah. Amanda Waller put this in another situation where we're fucked. We're gonna we have insane people on the team. We have people who have no idea what's going on, and then we have like Rick Flag and fucking Bloodsport, almost like the dynamic between Deathshot and Ric Flair. Which honestly, I wish they would bring back Will Smith as Deathshot, because I honestly liked him in that role. I mean, actually, for me, he stood out in the first movie.
Well, because Will Smith is one of the last movie stars, but straight up, he is like Will Smith can bring in regardless of what you say, even if you watch like his YouTube videos, it's like he has a talent or a charisma that is sort of magnetic. Like, you cannot deny that. Like, ever since he was a fucking 17-year-old kid,
Fresh Prince,
like you watch him and you're just like, you know what? Like, he's likable. Period. Like, he's just a likable guy. But he does not have a talent really for picking projects anymore. He doesn't. Yeah. Like, ever since essentially that hit like his late 90s run of just like non-stop fucking summer hits, and then he had those couple of dramas where were like Pursuit of Happiness and whatever. But after that,
there's really honestly, nothing decent.
Well, I mean, like, cause I think like
was the one with the planet? With his son.
Oh god! And I wanted to like that movie so bad.
I watched like 10. You wanted to like it?
Well, because yes, because all right, it's a sci-fi movie starring a black man and his son, and the movie, and like and the movie, like the concept of the movie is about the
You
son.
were about to make me like spit out my drink.
Well, but the concept of the movie, like the theme of the movie is the son growing up and maturing and becoming a man and sort of saving his father. No, because they crash land. The father's broke.
Is he supposed to save him?
Like
That's
his,
right, he
like
hit his leg or something. Oh my God.
yeah,
So
and like
cliche.
now he has to go out into the wild and experience the world
Oh my God.
to help his father. Right. The theme of that hits a lot of notes for me,
Mm-hmm.
but the movie sucked. It was stupid. Where it's like, okay, the villains. Anyway, Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
So-
wait. I got my last one. My fears.
Right.
I did nightmares, nightmares and dreams.
Well, you did. Then Nightmare Dreams, Hopes. Like I think you got it.
I just want one more that they don't use Harley Quinn the right way. I think it's very easy to let Margot Robbie do whatever she wants with it, which is fine.
Let me ask you. So, because Harley Quinn has gone through a lot of changes in the last.
Is this
going to
be the continuation from that?
I mean, it is going to be the continuation because this is Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, and Harley Quinn even within in the comics is very much changed into an anti-hero and is very much exercised herself from the Joker, and like that's been the whole thing, and I get it that it aligns very much in the zeitgeist of the Me Too moment and abusive relationships, and Harley Quinn is like the perfect comic book character.
She was a poster child for abusive relationships.
No, it was, and like the fact that they're changing her in this way is a great sort of message for that. I get that. At the same time, for me, Harley Quinn as a character still works best as this tragic person who cannot get over her love for a toxic person, because like in the heart of it, the only reason Harley Quinn is really around is because of the fucked up mess
Maxim right there
of the Joker. So it's going to be more of Rago Margies in the modern version of it. Or sorry,
I love Rago Marvies. That's my favorite porn
awesome.
Actress. Rago Marvies. The bitch does double AA anals, right? Rago Marvies.
Wait, what was it called? It was like double. It was like double A. Like, no, what was it called? What was it called? It was like, nah, we're gonna get two in the front, two in the DPS. My name is Max Orbison.
Yo, Orgasmo.
Contracts don't mean dick to me.
My favorite Max
And on
Orbison,
that note, we'll be right back.
I'm only gonna say my favorite Max Orbison line. I'm the mayor, I'm the governor, I'm the police, and the crime. But yeah, we'll wrap it up. It's been like 30 minutes. We've been talking you guys' ear off. This is the preview. We're gonna go watch the movie, and we're gonna come back, and we're gonna do a different video telling you how we actually felt about it.
Right now, we're right here.
Yeah. So right now, right here,
We don't know.
I hope it's good. I'm going into it with a pretty open mind because I haven't really looked at anything. And I tried not to watch anything about it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it
besides
either.
maybe one or two commercials when I actually got to see Starro.
I saw
a little bit of it.
I think the first trailer for it and clips of some of the other trailers.
Yeah.
But I try not to watch any of the trailers anymore because they give too much away.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm hoping right now. Again, we're like that. We're gonna come back, guys. We're gonna go get some food, relax, and go watch the movie, and we're gonna come back and tell you guys exactly what we think about it. So, guys, if you've watched it already, don't tell me, but tell me, you guys, what you think going into it if you haven't watched it, and if you have, try not to spoil it for anybody in the comments.
Well, yeah, and tell us what you think about the state of DC, the DC movies, and what is even coming out after this.
I'm asking, what do you feel is the state of the new Marvel stuff too?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's coming. The last thing I heard was coming out was the Batman
movie. Yeah,
and I heard that was delayed for some reason. I think some COVID stuff.
It was delayed for COVID, but that was like a year ago. I think they finished principal photography.
Oh, and the Flash. Because I've been hearing a lot of talk about the Flash movie. I heard Batman and Superman are gonna be in it.
Well, no, yeah, I heard
and Michael Keaton Batman.
No, it's supposed to be Michael Keaton Batman and Ben Affleck Batman, and they have a new Bat motorcycle in it that's crashed twice.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard there was an accident with the motorcycle.
So Yeah, I guess that's something.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
We'll see.
So guys, we'll be back in a little bit. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't come back, it's cool, but maybe you want to support the channel. It's a lot harder for my channel to grow on YouTube. So maybe if you guys are watching on Twitch, you come over and like and subscribe to Shanghai20 at youtube.com. Or if you guys are watching on YouTube, you come follow me over on Twitch to get the latest content when it come out like every day around like 9 o'clock.
2 pence. 2 pence.
6 pence.
2 pence.
99 pence.
$2.
The 99
$2.
Pence.
$2. I'll give anybody a quarter if they get that reference. Let's get some Chinese food.
Yeah, I'll see you in a little bit.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
All right.